It's difficult to recall a time before British television began to fetishize cookery programs. Fanny Craddock was then followed by Delia Smith and, occasionally, there was a wee cooking slot for the kids on Blue Peter. Now, at any given time of the year, there are around a dozen television programs focusing on food and its preparation. It's broadcasting gluttony, and it's all done under flags of virtue such as supporting British sustainable produce and encouraging ideas around healthy eating. This is, to borrow a gastronomic phrase, mince. These programs are relatively cheap to make and provide a bonanza for independent television production companies. They provide platforms for other ideas with the stars, like Mary Berry's Country House Secrets. Any African child who pitches up in the UK and who has wondered why there seemed to be so little food in his country of origin now has an answer. Judging by the number of food programs on British television, most of the world's food supply seems to be confined to these shores. These programs also seem to showcase the leisure habits and soft furnishing choices of the exclusively English middle classes. Occasionally, a house-trained Scot is permitted to join in to maintain the myth that we are all just the same and that the BBC is a force for national unity. The BBC's second biggest obsession is history, or at least a view of it, supplied almost exclusively through the eyes of English imperialists. Occasionally, BBC Scotland does history, but it's produced in easily digested bite-sized chunks by telegenic sorts who have no proper historical qualifications. In Scotland, though, we now have an opportunity to convey to our citizens that our nation actually has its own history and culture which is distinct from England's. Certainly, we have much in common with our great southern neighbours, but much of the beauty of each of our nations lies in our separate and distinctive identities. Next autumn, BBC Scotland will launch its new £30 million digital channel which will focus on drama and factual programming, including a nightly 9 p.m. Scottish news programme. That sound you hear belongs to the tills of delicatessens throughout Glasgow's West End, as BBC executives get together with Scotland's cultural Sanhedrin to plan edgy programmes that keep everyone in blueberry muffins for the foreseeable future. A cultural programming gap within BBC Scotland is brought into sharp focus at this time of the year. Next week, BBC Scotland's Hogmanay Live will help us all to see in the new year. It is a truly dreadful crock of cuthy and homespun nonsense that gives succor to those Scots who don't believe their own country is capable of running its own affairs. There is deedly fiddle music and a studio audience so inert that it makes Madame Tussauds look like a rave.